Pledge of Allegiance by Councilman Sam Jones.
All right. Let's also say thank you to the Creator of the Universe that's allowed us to come to this place that we call Statesboro Council Chambers to invite you here, knowing that you're already here, to be with us as we sit down and reason together for the betterment of all the citizens, especially the citizens of the district here. We thank you in all these things. In the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, we say amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we move down to agenda item 3, which is a presentation by Davenport and Associates regarding the Old Westford Tax Allocation District Revenue Bonds update. Is there? Come on forward.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Again, my name is Doug Gebhardt with Davenport and Company. We appreciate the opportunity to be in front of you today. I know we've spent some time together on a number of things, but we've got the old register CAD RFP results, that presentation that you have in front of you today. We certainly appreciate your willingness to accommodate this special call meeting today to help lock in and secure the really fantastic results that I'm going to share as part of this presentation. So if you would flip it open first, this is just a background overview of a lot of the things that you already know. But in 2018, the city established the Old Registered Tax Allocation District. As part of that, the city entered intergovernmental agreements with Boulder County Board of Education and the County Board of Commissioners with their supporting increments to the tax, which means all their taxes in that district are going to be used towards that district. As part of the redevelopment plan and development agreement, the city agreed to finance up to $4.75 million for public infrastructure projects. The majority of that is the access road to that development that's going on. So in June, I will add that in the event that there's any potential shortfall from the CAD revenue being produced, the development agreement calls for a special service district millage that would be sufficient to cover the debt service. So it's not anticipated that it's going to hit the city's general fund at all. And in June, we were hired and tasked with finding financing results that would help secure the financing. So if you flip to page 2, this is just an interest rate trend, which is a 20-year MMD. The MMD is the municipal market data, the tax-exempt benchmark that we use to price municipal bonds. The left-hand side is from 2000, and the right-hand side is from November of 2016. You can see over the last, basically since the start of the year, interest rates have dropped by over 1%. So it's really great timing to be considering going to market and pursuing some financing. And it's at or near all-time lows right now. So flipping to page 3, what we did is on May 15th, we sent out an RFP to a number of local, regional, and national lending institutions on behalf of the city. We ended up on Friday, June 7th, receiving 4 proposals, which you can see there on the bottom. The lowest rate was BB&T at 2.19, and we also received responses from Morris Bank, Synovus Bank, and Signature Bank. So if you would flip, there's detailed summaries in the appendix, but that's essentially what we're looking at here. So the next page is BB&T, the summary of the top proposal, which provided a 2.19%. There is, you're paid at any time, but essentially it functions as a make-whole call. There's very minimal bank counsel fees. At the time that this presentation was created, there was subject to credit approval, but that's all been done and closed by July 19th, but we've actually asked them to extend it, and we're now looking at closing on July 30th. So they've been very much accommodating, and that's part of the reason that we asked you guys to meet today, is so that we could maintain that really, really substantially low rate. to give you perspective, when we were running pro forma numbers, we were using interest rates that range between as high as 6%. That was for a 30-year financing. Anyways, we've got to be really excited about the results. So, flipping to page 5 is the estimated debt service associated with the bond. Because there was no history or no tax base associated with the TAD, we didn't feel like it was appropriate to go and secure the long-term 30-year financing. So what we did is basically a short-term 4-year note that will have to be refinanced in 4 years with a long-term financing. But at that time, the district will be established, and we'll have a known set of revenue source that we will be operating with it. You can see that there's a line item there called capitalized interest. Essentially what that is that we're going to be using some of the proceeds from the bond to pay the first year of interest. So there'll be no need for any special service district bill. We worked that out with Mr. Van Tassel when he was agreement. So basically, we won't have a first payment until 2021. So we have almost 18 months before anything needs to be paid on that bond. Any questions? So the recommendation and rationale on the next page, we recommend move forward with BB&T. The interest rate is fixed between now and final maturity, so it's not a variable rate or floating rate, so we're not subject to interest rate risk. The interest rate is also fixed between now and closing, so it's not like it's going to be reset 3 days prior to closing. We know that's the rate we're moving forward with. And like I said, minimal due diligence, but it's now been finalized, we're all approved, and the lender's fees are really minimal. So with that being said, the next steps on page 7 is that today we give the RFP results and recommendation. We're going to ask you, subsequent to this presentation, to adopt the bond resolution, which highlights all the key terms and conditions associated with the bonds and allows us to proceed with the validation process, which certifies that everything we've done is legal and valid, and we need to have that completed prior to closing. And then we anticipate a smooth closing on July the 30th, in which the city will receive proceeds for those infrastructure projects. I believe you guys have copies of the bond resolution as well, but it's basically just the details behind everything that we've laid out here today about how all the mechanics work in the legal. So happy to try to answer any questions. I'm not going to pretend to be a lawyer, but I can at least talk about some of the financing pieces if needed. With that, I'll pause and answer any questions, and we'll wait for your action on the bond resolution.
Is there any questions or comments by council?
Question. Well, you said the 2.19
Yes, sir.
is good rate, sounds very low, but it's 4 years, why not 20? I'm sure you have the reasons for that. So what's the reason behind 4 years versus 20 years?
Yes, we did, because there was no existing tax base behind the TAD right now. The TAD's revenues that it's produced are very, very minimal. So we did some preliminary communications with banks, and we didn't feel that we would get an interest rate that was viable. So essentially and we didn't feel like we'd go to the public market because we want to get the rating that we wanted to do. So by doing this, it basically establishes, I won't call it a construction loan. And basically allows us to establish a base so that when we do go out for the 20-year financing, we can get a really solid rate as opposed to paying a super high premium today for something that is much more unknown years 20 to 30 years out, because we didn't need a 30-year amortization. We just didn't feel like it was feasible at this time.
So you're saying you need a 30-year, but you got a 4-year. And you feel like 4 years from now you get a better rate than 2.19?
The 2.19 is only for a 4-year rate. If we were to go for a 30-year rate, it would have been substantially higher.
I think too, also we're waiting on some of the development to occur within the tax allocation district, so we get the tax base somewhere it needs to be. They'll have the security and surety for longer term financing.
So that means if you ask for a 30-year, probably not getting it now, the government,
The rates would have been a lot higher, they would have been a lot more suspect than where we are right now, just based on potential uncertainty that's there. But 3 to 4 years with development that's likely to occur, that will occur, and we'll be in a better place.
sounds good.
Any further questions of council? Seeing that there isn't any more questions, thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
All right, we move down to agenda item 4, which is consideration of a motion to approve resolution 2019-24, a resolution for the city of Statesboro, Georgia tax allocation district revenue bond, series 2019 in the principal amount of $4.75 million. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Let's show that agenda item 4 has passed. All right, thank you. All right, before I go to the consideration of a motion to adjourn, I do want to make this statement. Over the weekend, our city has had another tragic loss of life by a young man that was only 16 years old within our community, and it is a very heartbreaking issue to know that this is happening within our community. I know that no community wants this to happen, but you know, this is something that I feel very heartbroken about, the fact that it's happening to the city that I call home, the city that I've grown up in. And we have some issues that we have to address when it comes to the young people within our community. And that basically means that we're going to have to do some things that's outside of the box. We're going to have to really start working more at the grassroots level. And we're really going to have to show a lot of kids that we're losing, that there's an alternative route. I believe that our city is too good to have gangs involved in our community and have gangs influencing our young people. I know the family is distraught over this. I've had the opportunity to talk to them. And there are no words to describe the pain that you hear from a mother who's lost her child. And I think that we need to keep our community in prayer. But I do believe, like the word teaches, that a faith without work is a dead faith. And we really have to get to work within our community. With that being said, I am going to ask council for consideration of a motion to allow our youth commission to begin to raise funds for their respective mission as outlined in the ordinances that's established them, so that we can begin to get to work and start networking and do some things to help our young people within our community. This motion is based on the ordinance that was passed in regards to our youth commission. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to entertain those. If there are no questions, then I would really love for someone to make a motion to allow those individuals to start to get the work moving towards getting some fundraising done to address their mission.
Mayor, I'm glad to make the motion. Just my question is, I thought we'd done that.
Yeah, the rate.
Mine too.
Yeah.
The way the Section 284 is written, and I wrote this the same way that our other Section 2 authorities, boards, and commissions were written, was that they may, with the approval of mayor and council, do these fundraising. That being said, if we could just do an oral motion allowing, and this would be just for the fundraising, not for any of the expenditure of the funds. The expenditure of the funds would be a separate motion to allow them to do that, but we could allow them to raise funds if that sort of blanket motion is granted by the commission.
I'm confused, I thought we'd already done this. That's what he's saying, he's saying this is a further piece to the puzzle, and I think if he's saying we have to do it, I'm going to just trust him and make the motion that we move forward with having it so that the commission can start fundraising necessary instructs for the commission to pay for it.
And I think that blanket oral motion would be sufficient to allow them to do that. And then when it comes time for expenditure, we'll have the mayor present, or whomever present as well.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Ms. Sue, did you get that clear enough?
Yes.
Okay.
I
All
second.
right, so we got a second by Councilman Duke. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, gentlemen, thank you all. I don't know, I know Jeff is aware, and I know Councilman Jones is aware, and I think, John, you are aware, but I don't know if Councilman Duke is aware, but we did call a, call to action meeting that will be this Friday at 6 p.m. If you guys are available, please come. It's gonna be over at Agape Worship Center. And the meeting is really gonna be about getting to work. That's really the focus of it. So if you guys can make it, I'd love to see you there. With that being said, we'll move down to agenda 5, which is the consideration of a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Good evening, Statesboro. Yes, sir.